Alright everybody, so to finish off our global news for today, this is from Reuters, and it says EU rebuffs British PM Johnson's Brexit gambit. The European Union on Tuesday rebuffed Prime Minister Boris Johnson's demand that it reopen the Brexit divorce deal, says Britain had failed to propose any realistic alternative to an agreed assurance policy for the Irish border. After more than 3 years of Brexit crisis, the United Kingdom is heading towards a showdown with the EU, as Johnson has vowed to leave the bloc on October 31st without a deal unless it agrees to renegotiate the divorce terms. In his opening bid to the EU ahead of meetings with French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Angela Merkel, Johnson wrote a 4-page letter to European Council President Donald Tusk asking to axe the Irish border backstop. I told you they weren't going to give you what you wanted there, Boris. I told you straight up that these people are too stubborn, and that your only choices will either be to go with Theresa May's deal or go no deal at all. I mean, when I'm right, I'm right. I hate it when I'm right, because it seems like I'm never right about anything good. Wouldn't that be nice just once to be right about something that was actually vaguely positive? Johnson proposed that the backstop part of the withdrawal agreement that then Prime Minister Theresa May agreed last year be replaced with a commitment to implement alternative arrangements as part of a deal on the post-Brexit relationship. Merkel, Europe's most powerful leader, said the EU would consider practical solutions, but that the withdrawal agreement, which contains the protocol on the Irish border backstop, did not need to be changed. It is a question of the declaration on future ties, she said during a visit to Iceland, and I think we will act in a very unified way. Brussels was more direct. Those against the backstop and not proposing realistic alternatives, in fact, support re-establishing a border even if they do not admit it. A note seen by Reuters setting out the agreed joint position of the 27 EU states staying on after Brexit said the EU regretted Johnson's bid to scrap a necessary legally operative solution in favor of a commitment to try to find a solution. Johnson told reporters the EU is being a bit negative, but he believed a deal could be reached. I don't know. I think his confidence is really kind of unfounded. But Brussels was definitely more direct because they're, from a legalistic standpoint, are the real authority of the EU, not Emmanuel Macron and Angela Merkel, who sort of see themselves as the true authority figures. It's displayed in their actions. Their attitude is obvious. And I mean, why wouldn't they think that? Because Germany, a major economic power in Europe overall, and France being a major exporter of all manner of goods, so of course they would think of themselves as being very important. Wouldn't be surprised if at some point someone decided to put them in their place. I sense an overstep coming. Britain's pound-sensitive prospects of a no-deal departure fell after Tusk's comments to near 3 lows against the euro and the dollar before recovering its losses after Merkel's comments. Brexit brinkmanship. European diplomats expect little progress on Brexit until the British domestic landscape becomes clearer when Parliament returns on September 3rd, after which the opposition Labour Party has vowed to try to collapse Johnson's government. Johnson said the EU is unlikely to make the concessions Britain is seeking as long as it believed there was a possibility that Parliament would block Brexit. With British politics in such turmoil, it is still unclear how, when or indeed if, the United Kingdom will leave the EU. Many expect an election within months. With such uncertainty, some suspect perfidy in London. Perfidy. Okay, real quick. Sorry, guys. When I see a new word I've never heard before, I have to learn it. Perfidy, perfidy. Let's check this out. Okay, let's search. The quality or state of being faithless or disloyal. Treachery. An act of an instance of disloyalty. Okay, in context. With such uncertainty, some suspect perfidy in London. Ah, gotcha. A diplomat from one EU country told Reuters that Johnson's letter was pure PR and not meant to spur constructive talks, but rather set the stage for a blame game with the EU. The riddle of what to do about Ireland's 500-kilometre or 300-mile land border with the British province of Northern Ireland has repeatedly imperiled Brexit talks. The EU wants to be sure that its only land border with the United Kingdom after Brexit does not become a backdoor for goods to enter the EU single market. which guarantees free movement of goods, capital, services, and labor. To finish this article off, but Ireland says checks could undermine the 1998 Good Friday Agreement, which brought peace after more than 3,600 died in a three-decade conflict between Unionists who wanted Northern Ireland to remain British and Irish nationalists who want Northern Ireland to join a united Ireland ruled from Dublin. The United Kingdom does not want there to be any border, effective or virtual, between Britain and Northern Ireland. Johnson's government is propped up by Northern Irish Unionists. The backstop was aimed at squaring the circle. It could keep the United Kingdom in a customs union with the EU until a better solution was found, and keep Northern Ireland aligned to the rules of the EU's single market. Johnson wrote that the backstop was anti-democratic and threatened the United Kingdom's sovereignty, as the application of single market rules in Northern Ireland could divide the province from the rest of the UK. He also said it risked upsetting the delicate balance between nationalists and unionists in Northern Ireland. So yeah, do I think that violence will occur in a no-deal Brexit? Sure. Do I think violence will occur in a deal Brexit? Also sure. Because I don't see that there being any way that could end without some kind of blood. The Irish nationalists have always expressed a very violent attitude towards their northern neighbors. Now, I'm not saying it's necessarily going to be on the scale of anything resembling the way it was in the past. I mean, the Good Friday incident in 1998 is a lesson in of itself. They'll try to behave themselves, I just don't necessarily think they'll succeed 100%. There's always going to be at least that one individual in every society that doesn't like to follow the rules. That sometimes is me, yes. But nonetheless, no, the EU's too stubborn. Johnson's not going to get his New Deal. Plain and simple. It's not going to be doable. They're just too stubborn. They will not open the negotiating table. Germany and France have said no. Brussels has said no. What do? Is he really so stubborn that he thinks he can outwill the will of literally the entirety of what is left of the EU? I mean, if so, the dude has an ego the size of the friggin' moon. Maybe even bigger. Maybe even the size of the entire Earth itself. Needless to say, your position, Britain, is completely unenviable. So yeah, go figure. I was right about something. And as always, when I'm right about something, it's usually bad. I love my life so much. Anyway, peace!